Hi all, welcome to another Kingscrusher Blitz Banter on Chess 24. I'm just going to wait for my preview to mute. I'll check the challenges. Hopefully it's all from premium members. That's the first check I'm going to make. By the way, I've got a new microphone this week. It's a new version of my older microphone. It's supposed to be pretty good. Let me know if you notice any microphone quality difference. Okay, so Kingscrusher. Hi, Kingscrusher. Okay, let's start with e4. So Kingscrusher, are you going to crush me? I hope not. Are you ready? Is Kingscrusher ready? Oh man, he's not ready. I'll sip some coffee. Kingscrusher, is he around? We have to have bought this. Okay. I'm gonna abort it. I remember to do the tick box for starting a game here. Okay, that might have been the problem. I'm not sure. All right, the commutator. Let's play a French defense. Let's try a knight c6 French. Maybe I should have played Roy de Paz. A bit worried now. Let's change that. So bishop e7 and castle kingside is one plan. The shed file. It's going to double my pawns, I guess. What if I put the bishop here instead for a laugh? Alright, he hasn't doubled my pawns. I'll take the opportunity to put the knight on g6. And then maybe c6, queen c7, knight g4, that sort of plan, heading for h2 pressure. This gives my bishop a reverse gear. Take some b5, but he's taking there, so I'll avoid that for a moment. Okay, so what do I want to do here? What do I want to do? Bishop f4 for dc, so knight c4 is b5, that's one idea. If g6, bishop h6. If the knight moves, oh, okay. Can I undermine that knight with c5, or is that too dangerous? I could try undermining it. With c5. Yeah, let's do this. Because it's kind of wasting a few moves to take on g6. Isn't that? If I take on d4, trying to loosen this guy. If I play queen c7 here, I'm hitting, losing d5 potentially. If I take here, is that a problem? Maybe it is rook d1. It could be a problem with rook d1. I'm wondering rook d1 now. It's bishop c7 just out holding on to the queen. I wanted to play queen c7, but then I saw cd, you see. The centre's been blown wide open. Now, we've both been opening up the center here in this game. There's knight takes c4. Oh, okay. Can I do this and live to tell the tale? Rook d1, bishop c7. Is on e8. My rooks are not connected yet. Let's see. Queen c7. I was going to go for knight g5. That's not very friendly. Trying to mate me. How do I get out of this? Knight h5. Bishop g5, f6. Maybe, I think I don't want the queen there. I think knight h5 is... f6, there's queen takes c4 after. There's bishop g4, hold on a sec. Maybe bishop g4, connect the rooks. Knight g5. Or bishop g5. Actually, bishop g5, I think I'm going to take on f3. This is interesting and scary at the same time. And he hasn't recaptured the pawn here. So kind of more scary than anything. So h7. If I make sure he can't take on c4 later. I wonder. Yeah. Scared. Okay. Putting scariness aside for a moment. Let's play a6. It might be useful for b5, might be. Oh, he plays bishop f6. Yeah, he's just going for my king like that. Oh, God. Alright, it's got things like g4. This is interesting. He's just going to make me on h7. He moves that guy, though, doesn't he? Or not? Can I take here and there's two pieces hanging? Bishop and knight. Take this guy. Okay, I'm a little bit less worried about that knight. Win the queen here. Alright, thanks for the game. That was scary. Scary first game. Oh dear. Alright. Marcel, hi Marcel. Let's Smith Morra Gambit this. Alright, isn't there bishop f7 here? Knight g5. I'm not sure this was the best. Is it a loose piece? Loose pieces fall off, as they say. Now king d7 might actually be the best move. I'll pre-move this. And this is a good opening position. Knight f6, queen e6. I'm going into f7. On king d7, I suppose he escapes. What about bishop e3 and rook d1 first? Just building up a bit. Knight f7, rook g8. Knight d6 is not doing much. Queen d6. The knight's protecting the rook. I don't know what else knight f7 does really. Although in that regard, I could play bishop f4. Actually, it does something here. It faults queen and rook. But also, I was wondering bishop f4 and knight d6. Take the queen off, take the rook. It's a good start position. I'll castle here to avoid knight c2. And get the knight back. Well, just to take out this bishop, I think, to weaken d6. What else? Or maybe bishop e3. Then rook d1, f3. Actually, I'm on a7 as well. I'll just play this to stop knight g4. Ah, well, that was the idea anyway. Stop knight g4. Let's work on the 7th. Nice knight. Get the both rooks on the 7th. b4, b5. I'll take it here first to avoid losing the rook. Okay, I don't think there's a back row mate for me just yet. Okay. Okay, got a mate here. Alright, thanks for the game, Marcel. Moby. Hi, Moby. I think c5 anyway. I'll take towards the centre. Yeah. Try and weaken the dark squares. Maybe e5. I'll lose that d5 though, don't I? Right. Okay. I just want to check what's the kind of downsides of white's position here. I've got the dark square bishop. There's no counterpart. If I can damage white's dark square play, dark squares in particular, this is the trump card. How e5 doesn't seem to work. d4 after, although it is interesting to play d4 after takes. That is kind of scary. You know what? I'm wondering to go for that. Because the queen on d4, I don't think he plays knight f3, but I am trying to rip open the dark squares. He's not having it. He's not having it. All right, very interesting. He's let me just play that without winning d5. Okay, just wanted to get this bishop out. If I start hitting the dark squares with queen b6, I'm on d4 and b2, and I've got the bishop b4 now. I've also got bishop h6. I want to make this felt. This is the Donald Trump card. I want to make it felt. Bishop b4 or bishop h6. I can win a pawn. I can win the centre pawn here. I don't think bishop b5. There's a check to fling in. Using the dark square bishop now. Losing the exchange, is that a big deal? If I take here, check, king d7, knight a8. There's a load of pawns here. Starting with d4 and bishop b3. There's a load of pawns. I'm tempted, rather than now knight d4, just to sack the exchange. Is the knight even getting out? If the knight's not getting out, can I just play, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to play ef and d4 and bishop b3 and just take the knight at leisure after knight c7, king d7, knight takes here. The knight's not coming out, right? So I'm going to play d4 and bishop b3 after. Is the knight coming out? And take my time to take this guy. So d4, bishop b3, try and get loads of pawns here. I've already got 3 pawns for the rook. So d4 and bishop b3. 2 bishops here, a sort of trump card in its own right, not just having without the dark square bishop on the opponent. It's the 2 bishops working together and the 3 extra pawns. I'll take this guy now. So it's an exchange for 3 pawns. But I want to play like d4, maybe get a 4th pawn with bishop b3. That's good, it protects a7 taking this knight. So d4, bishop b3. What would you do there? King e2. There's also bishop g4 to think about. Rook f1. Rook f1. d4, rook f2, bishop b3. Where does the king go? Right, if I hold this for a moment. It holds a7 as well, a bit tighter. Which frees up the rook, basically. If I don't want to lose a7 because the knight's pinned. Alright, what am I going to do with this guy? Over here, maybe. Try and win g2. With king f3, maybe king c7 threatens knight e5 check. And I'm still not losing a7 here. So I've got knight e5. Okay, he's extinguished that. Right, let's put this back here. Right, d4 maybe for bishop d5. If knight e4, there's f5. D4, knight e4, bishop d5. Now d4 loses the pawn. Something better. Is there something better? Let's get out of the pins here for a moment. In case rook d5, if I want to move the bishop without rook d5. Yeah, I think bishop d5 here, the bishop pair is coming into action. I'll be winning g2 here. So bishop d5 with knight e4. A bit of firepower here. Alright, maybe take this guy just in case I need some extra pawns. Or prawns. I've had a lot of prawns recently this week, actually. Quite nice. From Marks and Spencer. Okay, so is c4 happening? Knight f5 might be a problem for knight d6. Okay, there's takes, which just loses a piece. Okay. Knight f5, there's bishop here, but then there's check. My king can't get safe enough, it seems. What about rook d8 for a moment to avoid this knight d6 business? So knight f5, bishop e4 without knight d6. If I can take and then rook d5, the other pawn's dropping off. This is like 5 pawns for the exchange or something. 3, 4, 5. Well, quite a few anyway. Put this check in here. And now, check here. Win another pawn soon. On his bishop g3 mate. Oh, that was a fun one. Thanks, Obi. That was good. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, it was good. Night flight. Yeah. Right, night flight. Hi, night flight. Okay, let's try a French defense. Try the knight c6. I'm specialising in knight c6 at the moment. Let's play with quick f6. Try and blast down the f file. Funny enough, the trump cards here coincide with the opponent's downsides actually as well. There's a direct correlation. The downside of my opponent's position, or downfall, could occur on the f file here, this f file pressure. But he's given me also another light square bishop without a counterpart. So I could use this and try and target f2 later with the f file. These are the trump cards and potential sources with the opponent's downfall here after bishop a6, e5 takes. f2 is going to be exposed. So bishop a6 coming up and e5. But no, also queen h5 for rook f3 for queen h2 here. So queen h5, but he hasn't got knight e5 because that would be a loose piece. It'd be queen g5. Right, so knight g5 might be a problem. Queen h5, bishop g3. And what if I play bishop a6 here for a moment? Just to weaken f2 without playing. I could have played a5, bishop a6. That is a concern if I'm losing out. Actually, I've just let him clamp down on e5, which maybe wasn't clever. I'll stop knight g5 for a moment, but I've let him clamp down there. Yeah, he's clamping down on these two key squares rather well, unfortunately for me. We've got the backward pawn to look after. Can I liberate with c5, trying to hit f2 later? Well, it's pretty solid. Queen a5 might be hunting a pawn. Does it matter at the moment if I drop a7? I can play queen h5, he's got bishop g3. Is this actually going anywhere? Rook e6, rook f3, bishop g3 if I take, rook e8. Maybe there's something brewing there, you know, of the taking. I'm wondering about his king side. Can I do better? Can I just leave the bishops staring at each other? So the concern is queen a5 because I didn't play a5 maybe. Alright, I can protect this, but queen a5. It's going to be winning some pawns potentially. Can't do anything with this bishop. Alright, it's going to go hunting the a7 pawn, I guess. Bishop c4, queen a7. Sorry, queen a5, bishop c4, queen a7, rook a8. Where does the queen go? b7, I use the other one. Okay. Can I just about play c5 here? Or not? g5? c5? Is that playable? Might be. Wondering. Hoping I'm not getting blasted to bits tactically by playing c5. Takes. I mean, I'm thinking, alright, he's not going after my poor a7 pawn, it seems. You're saying here? Oh, it's c7, is it? Is it c7? Maybe g5, g4. I'll use this bit of time he's given me. I can play rook f3 as well. I'll play rook f3. As rook f8 for bishop f2. h5. Trying to get h4 in. Use his queen, right. I'm going to take on c3 here. Getting one pawn back. Then maybe queen b4 after and hoping for the best. Can I do that? Rook c1, queen b4. What's the threat? If I could play queen f6. There's bishop e2 here. No, there isn't. And queen f6. He's got rook d5 after. Okay, bit of trouble. It's bishop b7. Or not lose d5 in a hurry. Oh, it's got bishop e5 as a threat. Okay, less evil time. Sort out the king. I'm going to end up running out of time. He's got bishop d5. Ouch. It's king f7. This hasn't worked out well. Need to claw back on the clock as well as position somehow. Bishop e6, king g6, king f5. It's pretty solid for a7 at the moment. Oh, rook g8 for rook g3. There's rook c7 though. What about bishop d5? Right, king goes to f5, and then rook g8 for rook g3. There's also bishop d5 to factor in. Can I budge his g3 bishop somehow? How do I budge this bishop? Maybe not. I'm going to take here. There's going to be a bishop d5, isn't there? Gives me... hang on. Bishop f2. We'll just take this guy off. Before bishop a7 is dangerous. Hang on. There's a mating pattern with bishop f2, rook h4 if he tries the queen. Bishop f2, rook h4 mate. Yeah, close one. That was fun. Exciting. Bit of adrenaline there. Okay. Fenneman. Yeah, that didn't work out. That game didn't work out, sorry. I'm only just human, guys. I just try and create some play, create some counterplay. So bishop d3. Castle. Have I got anything from this opening? I'm just trying to use the trump cards though. You give me these bishops without a counterpart. It's definitely a trump card to make use of tactically otherwise. So let's unpin here for f4, f5. So f5 coming up. I hope this is good. I can play f5 here. In fact, it's the only thing my position's geared up for. Queen h6, bishop g5. Maybe queen h5, bishop g5. Let's take some territory. So bishop g5 is a nice pin. Rook a e1 looks like a nice position to have. So bishop g5, rook a e1. Bishop g5, rook a e1. Alright, so is knight f6 a big problem? I'll just play queen h4 on knight f6. I just want to play rook e1. My opponent's not really helping his king safety with the king stuck in the center here. So I think I'm going to play this check. There's bishop e6, there's rook e6 there. King f8, there's check here, bishop f6. Looks pretty crushing. Alright, thanks for the game, Penman. Okay. McTowell. Alright. I'm going to play a bit solidly against McTowell. He worries me. I've had near disasters against him. I'm going to play a little bit more solidly with white, without minimal downsides. One of the most obnoxious systems I know I picked up from my friend Paul Georgiou is a kind of sick relative of the London system. It's sort of on f4 you put the bishop here. It's a slightly more aggressive version of the London system. I nearly beat 2 GMs one morning this week with this system. It has got a name. Something attack. Verisov attack might be the name. Transposing into a stonewall attack here. So the bishop outside the pawn chain, because it's usually stuck on c1 with bad light squares. But here, okay, I've got bad light squares, but it's potentially aggressive with rook f3 to h3. I'm not too terrified of minority attack at the moment. The obvious queen h5, he's got g6 and I lose a piece, right? I have to play bishop e7. That's unfortunate. So what do I do with this? Bishop h6. You just take queen h5. There's no attack there. Bishop h7, check. King moves. Rook f3, bishop g5. He's always got bishop h6. I think just bishop f4. I'll swing the rook in soon, I hope. So queen h5 and rook f3 to h3. Right, so rook e8 is the standard plan, right? Unfortunately, I can't sack on f7. I'm one move short of sacking on f7 here. That's really unfortunate. I can leave it on standby, queen h3 for rook f7. For queen h7, I stopped it. This position, rook f7, queen h7 is interesting. Rook g8, rook f1 check. Bishop h6, if king e7. You know what? I'm doing it. I think this is dangerous because check, king e7 is bishop g5. Rook h8, rook f1 for king g7. I've also got g6. Right, I'm thinking this position. If king e8, queen g8, if king e7, bishop g5, wins the queen. There's a check here, win bishop. Yeah, the Verisov attack is pretty dangerous. Alright, thanks for the game, McTowell. Azure Mist. Yes, Verisov attack could be a weapon of choice here today, after that game. That was pretty cool. I thought, okay. So we have a Benoni. Black's trump card is the pawn majority. I want to suppress it. And also the e5 and the e-file. The e5 square, the dark squares, and the e-file pressure. But the problem with black is the d6 pawn here. And head for the d6 pawn. So knight c4, bishop f4. Try and torture d6. Watch out for knight d5. Watch out for b5 and get bishop f4. It looks like classic Benoni at the moment. I'm not entirely happy with the queen's location here. In fact, knight e4, knight e4, f5, what will I do? Okay, I'm targeting d6 now. After that move, that's tempting me to go straight for d6. How does he defend d6 here? Yeah. Good point. There's queen f3 threatening bishop d6, queen f6. Knight d7, I'm prepared to take on e5 that knight. Does that work? Knight h5, there's nothing tactically going on here. I guess it works. Is that bishop g5? Just trying to provoke some weaknesses like f6 or h6. I'll work on them later. Rook a e1, g4, knight g7, bishop f6, g4, knight g7, bishop f6 stops f5. But there's always knight d7 hitting that bishop. You know what? I'm going to play this because I'm wondering that knight's passive. I'll play bishop f4 here. On knight e5, I might just take with the bishop, get rid of this bishop to create a pass pawn here in the center. With that knight passive, pass pawn here. Well, that just loses a piece. I thought knight g7 was forced. Alright, thanks for the game, as I missed. Okay, Tirsdag. Playing French defense again with knight c6. Oh. Alright, I'll Fianchetto try and spice things up. It's a 3-minute game. Fast pace. Try and get my knight into e4 and play f5, g5 later. Maybe swap off the light square bishops first. I've played this plan before with some success to sort of wind up the French defense exchange players. Try and get an aggressive position, but I don't want to compromise my dark squares too much. Knight e4 at the moment. There's bishop f5, bishop d6, unfortunately. So if I prepare this with bishop f5 for bishop d6 for bishop d3 without losing f8, I want to play bishop f5, weaken the light squares, put a knight into e4, play f5 and g5 later. That would be the basic plan. But here, I'm wondering g5, g4 for knight d4 for knight b3. Yeah, is he actually going to take this bishop? Because otherwise g4, knight d4, knight b3, and there's bishop h7. Takes that bishop, okay. Bishop g4 for bishop f3 for knight d4. I mean, I've always got to factor bishop h7. My back row is also... Okay, I can't take that without... I'm in trouble here. Bishop c4. Don't like the look of this. Can I play knight d5? Hold c7 at least. Knight c4. I haven't compromised e5 yet. Alright, c6. Is that a step too far? Weakening the dark squares. Seems okay. I'll try and move this bishop to hold e8. Oh, there's knight d6. Can I hold d6 and hit b4? Threatening bishop b4. Okay, this exchange sack. How does this work? Do I take on b5 first? Take on b5 first to open the rook. Bishop b4. He hasn't got a dark square bishop. My dark squares don't seem a disaster just now. Can I just take on e1 and play c takes? Bishop c3 first. Worth it. What about c takes first? Hitting the knight. That gets another pawn. Knight moves bishop e1. Take it from there. And this bishop c3. Oh no. Okay, that wasn't entirely clever. Okay, I'll just let him off the exchange. Queen b3, bishop c6. There's bishop b5 here. I want to play knight f4. Just hold this bishop for a moment. Maybe unpin king g7. Get out of the stuff here. Knight f4 immediately. There's rook e8. Check. I'll play knight for knight f4 in this position. Okay. I'll take this bishop. Is he taking here? I'll play for queen d5. There's no queen f7 or anything. Queen d5 coming up. Takes that knight. Can I just save the knight for a moment? I'll play queen d5. Over here. Okay, this pawn looks ready to be pushed. b3 takes b2. Let's queen this pawn. Right, is there any problem with the diagonal here? Alright, I'll play this. Check. Win that rook. And queen b7, I'm on f3. Alright, thanks for the game, Toastag. Kramnik student. Okay. Countergame it. I'll play it with c5, which is a much rarer move than knight c6, and not very good because it weakens the light squares. But I want a bit of a surprise. Maybe I can try and win the e5 pawn back. And later. Okay, it's not fianchettoing. a5, stop b4. We're going to target c4 here, bishop e6, rook c8, a5, knight a5. As long as there's no knight g5, this d4 pawn. Alright, stop knight g5 for a moment. a4, rook c8, knight e5. Does he take on g6? That would weaken c4 if he took on g6. I want to play knight a5 and hit c4 hard. Right, he's going to give me the dark square bishop. I might lose d4, hang on. That wasn't clever. He could just take and then take on d4. Oh, blimey. I think I'm playing too quickly. Alright, got to take stock here. Look at downsides of the opponent's position here a bit. Come more carefully. And mine. d4 is weak. Queen c7 is on c4 again. Not losing d4 just yet there. He could take queen e4, g5, knight d4. Okay. I think c4 is going to drop. If he gives me the two bishops to do this, that's quite something. Maybe I just play queen c4 there. Queen c4 there. I can take here. I'll take on c4. I don't want to drop d4. Hold on. I see he's weakening my king. Takes queen e4 with bishop f5 though. So I'll play this for a moment. Takes queen e4, bishop f5. Don't put this knight back. Or play bishop f5. Bishop c4, queen e4, bishop d3. Rook c1, knight c1, rook c1. Bishop d4 anyway, rook c7. Okay, bishop c4 is possible here. e6, queen f4. Takes queen f7. So I think I'll take on c4 here. I can take on d3 as well. Check here. King f8. I might just king f8 in that position. Bishop c7, bishop e2. Yeah, I think just king f8 in that position. Alright, if I play king f8, hitting the queen, hitting the bishop. If I play bishop d1, bishop e7, king f7, yeah, because if he takes, then I'll take on e7. It's no big deal for me, this position, is it? There's a check here, unfortunately. I'll take then. I'll play rook c2. Bring the king up. Rook f4 is not doing anything. Maybe king c4, king b3. Okay, my g5 is a bit weak. King can't move away too much. I'm going for h3 pawn. king d3 for rook b2. King d3 is threatened. King's a bit far. These pawns are a bit fixed. He's got a pawn majority here. It's a bit fixed by the 2 pawns. So I'm wondering if I can win b2 here. With the king far away. King c4 to b3. Rook b2. Yeah, I think this is interesting because by the time he takes this and queens, I'll probably queen my a pawn. Alright. Try and queen my a pawn. There's a check. My rook gets trapped. Oh. That was a nasty trap set. Because king g2 I think was trapping my rook. Oh, I thought he was winning there with just rook h8. I've got 2 passed pawns over here now. Yeah, it was winning with rook h8. That was... There's time pressure, but... It's rook h8. I couldn't see a thing. The interesting thing about the position, I can't even go behind the pawn with the check because there's rook g4. I think... Just... How do we get the analysis? Well, we don't need to get the analysis, okay, but there was a mouse hit. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that just let me sack the rook for the 2 pawns. Yeah, it was a mouse hit. Unfortunately, yeah, very good game. Very good game. Okay, Roberto. Let's stick with solid Verasov. Oh, not getting it. Not getting a Verasov. I should have done something about that. Okay, this is interesting. It's like Sicilian defense transposition. If we have knight c4 and e4, we've got kind of Sicilian defense, actually transposition. Because I've swapped my d pawn for the c pawn. It is looking like Sicilian defense. Maybe I want to just castle kingside because I'm a bit wary of being hacked on the queen side. f4, bishop f3 for e5 later. Just try and play, just make sure there's no nasty check. So f4, bishop f3. Okay, he has got knight g4. I suppose if he really wants to play knight g4 or something. There's knight d5 here. Change the pawn structure favourably, because I'm thinking I've got c3. If he takes knight b4, I've got c3 there, blunting the bishop. I think I might play c3 anyway, because it looks a bit odd actually, the queen there. c3, bishop e3. c3, bishop e3. I'm wondering, it seems a bit of a timid plan. See what downsides the opponent's position got here. It looks, actually, apart from the queen on c8, it looks as though it's pretty, the pawn structure is pretty solid, the pieces are pretty good. Okay, he's given me a light square bishop to play with. c5 square isn't, okay, c3 to blunt this bishop for a moment. And bishop e3 just to discourage a bit more, knight c5. I can just take that, forcing him to take the pawn here rather than with the queen, which might not be as ideal. This pawn doesn't look right, but on the other hand, bishop d4, rook e1 doesn't look a terrible position. Got some pressure on e7 here. I can pin this. Knight d5 takes. So I'm holding d5 here. Alright, now the b2 question. Queen e2. Holding b2. Hitting e7, hitting c4. Put some pressure on. e7. I wonder if g4 does anything. Right, g4, g5. Just get rid of this dark square bishop. Knight g8. F5. If he takes bishop h5. If bishop d4, knight d4, I want to play like takes bishop h5. I think it's good fun. f6 is coming potentially if it wasn't for the queen being attacked. Maybe bishop just drops back here. h4, h5, h6, bishop h8, fg, h4, h5 looks interesting. Super aggressive, but because I've got that light square bishop, I don't know if any of you have read Nunn's Secrets of Grandmaster Chess, but he has this fantastic game against Tao where he starts flinging his pawns. Okay, this f-file opens here anyway. h4, h5 might actually be justified. Or alternatively, the simple bishop h3 to e6, just using this bishop like that. It holds d5, it cuts across his king. I think it's difficult to dislodge. Bishop f5 here. Looks a bit violent, but is it justified? Maybe. Let's put a piece in front. Alright. Double. There's queen h5 and rook f6 coming up. Okay. Not there yet. I need some more attacking pieces here or something. There's rook f6 here. If takes check, that's not possible, so I think I'm winning material with rook f6. For rook queen g6 or rook g6. That's queen d5, hold on a sec. I can just take this queen here. Not care about the check, there's queen f3 for queen d1. Thanks for the game, Roberto. Okay, Kingscrusher. Okay, Kingscrusher, let's play d4. Spicing up things. d4. Flying knight to g5. So this is the Veresov attack. I tried to get a Veresov attack. I don't know what I've got here. Ooh, e5 looks weak. I've threatened queen h5 here now. This looks like a classic disaster you can have from the Dutch defence at the moment. Yeah, this doesn't look too good an idea, because I think I spot a slight flaw here with black's position called knight f7 check, winning the queen. Thanks for the game, Kingscrusher. please, don't create too many weaknesses. Creating weaknesses, the more tactical your opponents, the more they're just going to eat you up alive, yeah? With the weaknesses. As a general rule, yeah? Got to be more and more careful about creating weaknesses, yeah? The further up you get. Yeah? Okay. So we've got a Benoni again structure, which could emerge if e6 ed later. Is that going to happen? Is he going to leave the d6 pawn here or not? Nope, it's not Benoni yet. Now you might think, what's the problem with leaving this structure? And that's a good question. Well, the thing is, it provides a benefit to play e6 ed, that Benoni structure provides the e-file source of counterplay. Now here, I think I'm just going to target c5, because this is what people do against me, and it's horrible when I play like this. c5 is a problem. Here, I think I'm going to make sure e4 is reinforced and target c5. Queen c4 has a flaw, knight g4. f3 unfortunately has a flaw, c4, but it's bearable. I want to play queen c4 and start torturing c5 without any hassle. So queen c4, knight a4, knight c5, b4, that sort of plan. If he plays knight d7, well, it's not going to be for f5 legs of d6 check. Oh, he's got this, okay. If I knight a4, queen a5, does that work? Hang on, there's knight c5 there. Is that an advantage to me? You know what? Let's see. Queen a5, knight c5, hitting the queen, hitting b7. Maybe that's good enough for the moment. And queen b4, there's knight d3, protecting people. There was also rook a4 maybe. Queen b5 takes rook a7. Queen b6, there's things like knight e6. Alright, this C file, sort it out. I don't know what I've achieved there actually, swapping my a pawn. And can I do this? b4, has he got b6? Alright. Let's go for b4 without dropping c3 and the variations after b6, knight e6, queen c3. I'll play b4 without b6 being such a nuisance. b4 doesn't really do anything, does it? I'm just, I don't know. Let's think. Downsides of the opponent's position here. What are they? Nothing's really that weak. Maybe c4, c5 is the plan. Alright. I get the king out here. For a moment, this could be trouble, this diagonal. Knight d3, there's queen c4. Okay. There is queen c4. If he wants an annoying pin, I'm not sure it does too much. And can I reinforce e4? f4, bishop d2 or something. No, queen a6, rook b8. It's not doing anything. Getting a bit passive here. Can I play queen d3 or knight d3? Maybe knight d3. Then rook a3, b3, and then c4. I don't hope there's no knight sack or anything. Rook a3, b3, c4 plan. Just to try and play on the queen side. Knight e4 takes f3. I think I'll just take. So rook a3, b3. Queen moves c4. Maybe bishop e1 to f2 and then c5 later. Rook a3, knight b5 though. That's annoying. I have to keep the bishop fixed. Let's put this bishop in a better place, targeting b6. Okay, under pressure here. There's b3 for nothing, I don't know. b3, c4. And there's knight b2 afforded by... If I play c4 here, okay, I have to take, I think, maybe c4. We're losing material. There's queen e3 and knight b2 maybe. Is he relying on this gigantic pin, I suppose? I've got knight b2 immediately here, trying to unpin. Oh, he's got rook d2. There's queen e3, rook b2, rook d8. So queen e3 is possible, then knight holding d1. I get rook d5 to try and snuff out this play. I'm not getting back row mated, I hope. So rook b2, rook d8, rook d1, rook knight d1, queen d6, that's fine. As long as I'm not getting back row mated, that's the main thing. I get the queens off and knight a4, hitting b6. Gotta get some air for my king. And knight c3 to d5 looks very logical. And he goes rook d3, rook c3. Oh, he's going for play again. How annoying. Oh. Okay, let's not panic. Let's not panic. Rook b3, knight b6. He's got bishop d2. He's got this passed a pawn as well. And get rid of this bishop and get behind his pawn. This isn't ideal. Nope, not ideal at all. It's got bishop d4. Is that f4? Right, that was interesting. Instead of bishop d4. That was rook f7. Gone, aren't I? Yeah, okay. I was outplayed. Okay. Yep. I was outplayed. That was horrible. Okay. Okay. Outplayed. Go for an h-pawn attack. And let's sack here. So it's just the knight, f5, f4, h3, h2, bishop h3, that sort of thing. There's f5. There's bishop h3 or queen h4. Okay, I'll get an exchange at least. Queen h4, knight g3. I'll get this exchange. Open up this bishop, and there's knight e5 or knight f4. I'm going to play this anyway. The dark squares look good. Queen, I was knight d3, rook d1. Knight d3 is another pawn, and take that bishop. It's just another pawn to get. And relieves the pressure on d6 if I take on f4. Rook h2 or queen h4 here. Queen h4, bishop g3, queen h3, queen g1, there's rook h5 for rook g5. Yeah, this is dangerous. Surely, bishop d6, queen h3, Queen g1, rook h5 to g5. With the knight sitting on d3, cutting across some squares. There's almost a basis for weaving a mating net. I think rook h5 to g5 is dangerous. Isn't just queen h3 mate? Well, it's king g1, but even so, get h1. That looks like checkmate. Alright, thanks for the game. 2500. Blimey, I wanted to get to 2500. Can I get over 2500 on the next game? 2500. Sorry for being savage about it. Yeah, I'm not taking no prisoners. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not accepting any draws. You have to beat me. That's the only way you're going to draw. You're going to have to force a draw, or you're going to have to beat me. Yeah, that's the way it is today. sorry. I'm just you know. Okay, a6, rook b8, b5. Rook b8, b5. Bishop d7, knight e8, c7, b5. Bishop d7 and knight e8, c7, b5. Okay, b5 is not a problem at the moment. Bishop d7, b5. Is he lining up for e5? Oh my word, there's d6, isn't there, on bishop d7? There's e5 takes d6 with that nasty pin. So maybe I play f6, which is looking terrible, but it does serve a function. Then I want to play b5 without too much hassle here. Mind you, b5 is just the loose knight on a5 at the moment. It needs a lot of preparation. b6, knight b7, then maybe b5. Let's get this knight away and then play for b5. Queen e8 as well if needed for b5. So knight b7, queen e8, b5. Oh, there's knight b3 winning exchange. Weakness of the last move opportunity. Totally opportunistic in that moment to take the exchange. b5 takes. There's queen e8 for b5 still. I get my b5 in finally without too much hassle. You might wonder what it does. It sort of liberates, I think, black's pieces. It's a way of liberating black's pieces. It's a pretty standard idea to play for b5. You see that in a lot of Kasparov games. I've noticed he plays a lot for b5 in his King's Engine games. It's just, I think it's just a form of, yeah, liberating. And my rook is now active. That is like a backward pawn sitting on a semi-open file. Later, maybe f5 at the right moment without losing my e6 square would be good. Can I play queen b5 here? I am the exchange up. F5 here looks okay. Trying to dismantle white's center. There's check, and there's f takes, winning a piece because the queen's overloaded. If f takes, rook takes. If queen takes, queen takes. I don't think queen e6 is doing anything. Yeah, thanks for the game, Night Killer. Exhausts. Let's play this boring Verisov attack. It's not boring, actually. It's not. I don't find it that boring. I know it's a relative of the London system, but as Paul Georgiou says, the bishop is one square away from f4. It's not a London system. It's called the Verisov attack. But people are not letting me get it. We're getting this position instead, which is not a Verisov attack. I don't know what it is. We've got semi-Benoni structure, wannabe Benoni structure here. I will clamp down on b5. Alright, generally the problem with this is fractured the pawns. If I can squish the counterplay, it will be good fun to play. b3, knight e4, knight e4. It doesn't matter about bishop a1. I want to squish the queenside counterplay. But to do this, okay, a6 is also a target. Is knight d2 to c4 at some point possible? I don't want to lose e4 in a hurry. Knight c4, queen b4. Is there anything clever there? Rook a4, queen c3, bishop d2, and the queen's coming back. Knight c4, queen b4. There's knight a2, knight a2. Alright, let's just put this here for a moment. There's no knight g4 at the moment. Knight c4, queen b4, knight a2. Might be a move there. Queen goes back somewhere. There might be knight a5. Alright, I'll play this here. He's on c3 anyway, so knight a2 would help the knight escape from the glare of the bishop. He could take on e3. Hitting my queen. Now if he doesn't take on e3, on queen b4, knight a2, if queen moves elsewhere, bishop d2 is possible, holding c3, as well as of course bishop g4. I think knight e3 might be the most unpleasant, yeah. Oh boy. I'll try and use this f file. This disgusting pawn structure. And he's got a fantastic e5 square. I'm just hoping the f file dynamic play is there. Can I weaken his king with knight a4? Is it worth doing that? Probably not. So queen d2 it is. Oh, to play this slow. Knight a5 to c6. Okay, I think I have to take that. It's too big a piece. To unpin here. Maybe rook a4. There's bishop d7. There's rook a6. Maybe I want this on the f file. The f file's my trump card. Bishop c4, knight e2 to f4 doesn't look entirely terrible. Bishop c4 affords a battery on a6 with queen d3 or queen e2. Stops c4 in the future. Discourages e6. I think bishop c4 looks like a move, basically. Oh man, I'm getting done over. I didn't see that at all. the idea is, that's the only move I think, basically, to try and save the piece. If takes, maybe I take and then knight b1. Stop killing me tactically. It's not fair. Knight b2 to d3. Right. I get to this F file. There's bishop e6 on rook f8. I'll play this anyway. I get a chance for knight f4 here. He's going to eliminate that straight away for his passed pawn. Okay, I can try and get onto the light squares with bishop f5, queen g4 to h5. Before his passed pawn's a killer. Should I have played d4? Play it here to stop that bishop coming back. He's got things like queen f1. Gonna get out of the firing line. I can play king takes, hold on. I've got king takes there. Hit a6. Alright, queen a6. This pawn's coming in, is it? Queen a6, rook a8. There's e5 for bishop c2 for queen d3. That's queen h8 there. I think this h file, king f2, rook h1, rook h7 plan. There's bishop e6 here. Three queens are mates. Otherwise queen h8 is mating. Bishop e1, maybe king f3. And king g7. Right, bishop f5. Threatens queen g6, queen h7. Bishop e1, king f3. That's g4 there. I think I just take. Alright, yeah, very tense. Yeah, I was a goner. I was a goner. Yep. Okay, Luke. Blimey. Luke. Let's play Banter Gambit. Alright, this line. I've had this recently. I'm still on this diagonal. I've had the game recently in this. I found it useful to have a knight on a7 in my recent game in this line. It's e6. I'll challenge this knight immediately. The white is from c7. I've got rook b3. Who's going to play rook b3? Is that really a problem? That's really a problem. This is nasty. Really. If I play knight b6 threatening knight a4. for queen b5. Now rook d3 there. I want to move my queen, maybe a6. If I get him to play b3 so he can't use that for the rook, then knight c7. There's knight a4 here for queen b5. Except I can't play that because my rook's hanging. So knight c7. Is that f5 trying to use this diagonal before I get slaughtered? Takes. I think, okay, f5, trying to get some counterplay on the diagonal. Yeah, okay, e6 is weak. I'll take on e4, queen e6, queen b7, knight f8, and queen d5 there, maybe, for e3, check. I'll take out these two centre pawns for an e3 check. He's always got a5. E3 check's dangerous for rook f2 after, well, if my rook was still on the board, which it won't be. This looks nasty. Is there knight d5 here? I'll play for knight d5, I think. Threatening knight f4. Check. It takes my rook. I still threaten knight f4. Do I ever unpin there? Rook d3, knight f4, king f3. I don't know. It's probably gone, this position. He's also very quick. Knight f8, rook f8. Threatening knight f4 and bishop b2. But rook d3 will just kill this pin. Now knight f8, knight f4 check. Bishop b2, rook d3. Isn't there? There's rook b1. Bishop d4 here. Hang on. That will stop rook d3 business. I don't mind taking for on f2 here. There's no rook d3 business. I'm on f2. Bishop e3, queen. No. This pin's nasty. He hasn't gone for that stuff. Let's hold the knight for a moment. So threatening queen b2. Bishop c3 I'll take to avoid getting mated. Let's stop this for a moment. So I'm down a minute on the clock as well. Queen e2, rook f1. I think this. I suppose he's got rook e6. It doesn't look like a great position anyway. Knight c7. If I get the chance for knight b5, knight c7. But I suppose rook e6 is happening. Rook e6, rook e6. Alright, it's threatening mate. Right, knight c7 for knight b5. There's always a pin again, queen d3, okay. There's queen a8 here, does that offer anything? I lose d6. There's knight b5 there. Down to 34 seconds. Queen. Queen f5. That's pretty solid. "12 seconds. Okay. Yeah, I was under great pressure. Okay. That's 2-1 to Luke. Very dangerous opponent. Okay, knight d4. Is that any good for bishop e2? Oh, I'm dropping b7. Cracking up now. b7. I think the knight can go to e6. Okay. I'll take the pawn. Oh dear, I'm just seeing the chat. You visit every week, Luke. Yeah. Okay, Luke. Yeah, we'll see Luke next week. Yeah. We'll see what happens to you next week. I'll try a different opening. Try and weaken these dark squares. I'll just put you on the list, the assassination list. Right, Luke, I have you on the list. Just kidding. Kramnik student, hi there. What's your favour? What? By the way, did you guys notice any microphone difference? I've got a new version of my old microphone. Any microphone difference today? Any good? Rook f6, queen f7. Does it matter about losing the... There's a Dead's Army. I was making a very faint reference to this Dad's Army sketch where it says about putting him on the list, like, what's your name? And his name's revealed. It's quite hysterical. I think it's on YouTube if you want to find it. What are these videos that have been sent to me by Kramnik students? Alright, I don't mind losing the exchange. Go on, take my exchange. I want this big dark square bishop. Nope, doesn't want the exchange with 92. Finally. I'm giving it bishop on e5. Right, king e7, rook h4. Try and sort out my weaknesses. And then some sort of weird breakthrough might be possible somewhere in the future, although it doesn't seem that likely here. It's pretty locked in, isn't it? Magnus Carlsen does not believe in fortresses, nor do I for this game. I'll use this diagonal. What can we do with this diagonal? I'll put battery on there first. Then I'll play for b6. I think I'll play for b6. So I have my rook on c8 for b6. If it takes c5, takes here. a5 takes rook a8. Does it want to be there? Yeah. My king's over here though. This is not ideal. My king there. I'm just giving him a big pawn. Great. I'm finding a way to make sure I lose this at the moment. That wasn't very well prepared. It's not very well prepared. That break didn't really do much, did it? Apart from giving me a losing position. Oh, what have I done? This was really dumb. This was really super dumb. I've just got a position I can't do anything with. Just dropping a6 at leisure. Oh, I have really cracked with this plan. This was a really diabolical plan. That is pathetic how I've done this. I don't know what I was dreaming about earlier. What was I dreaming about? Draw? I'll accept a draw. Thanks. Okay, you're just winning, but it's just breaking through the A file. I mean, it's totally winning position. I was dreaming about something. I thought my king... Oh no. Snapped in half. Took too much risk. Didn't need to do that. If my queen was on e7 instead of the king, there might be more of a justification. I'm not justified to play for a win here. I have to swap my king and queen. If I want to do something here like this, right, to swap the queen and king around, then maybe, you know, here there's a5. I think I'd hallucinated with a5 here. I'm undermining c5 if I do want to try and play for a win. If the rooks are not immediately in contact with the a file, I've got to swap my king and queen around. Yeah. Okay. Should we have one last game then? It's 2:20. How many more challenges are there? Oh, there's only 2 more challenges anyway. All right. More exciting than bishop f4. The Veresov attack. Attempt at Veresov attack. It was a generous draw for a completely lost position. But, you know, I didn't need to play for b6 when it was completely losing like that. You know, you've got to prepare these breaks, yeah, if you're going to make them. Sometimes. Right, this position looks stable enough for the moment. Queen c2 and e4. Although black looks pretty solid here as well. He's got the double pawns though. Okay, I'm going to take on e7 here, take on e4, and then hope that there's some weaknesses to pounce on. Maybe queen b3 or f. What about just f3? Doesn't that leave black with some weaknesses? Takes. Maybe d5 later or something. Or e4. c5, knight c4 to d6 looks pretty tasty. Except I'll be giving up the d5 square. Can I play this anyway? Knight c4 to d6 looks interesting. Oh, you have knight e4 though. Knight e4 on knight c4. Well, there's knight e5. There's g5 after. Oh, right. Okay, things are really hotting up. Okay, knight c4 here. So knight e4. Well, I can take on e5 then. If takes, I get knight d6 check in. B6. So I'm just thinking, did that really happen? I really cracked in that last game playing b6 there. You know, it needed a little bit more preparation. Anyway. Okay, e4 here. Now knight d6, there's takes. Queen f4 might be a much better bet. There's knight h5. Well, there's queen g3. If knight h5, queen g6. So queen g3 looks good. There's knight h5, queen g6. King f7, knight d6. Alright. Knight d6. Any downsides to the opponent's position here? The f-file. F-file generally, if I build up looking for something later, rook f2. Well, there's also b7. I wonder about the rook coming to here around the queen side. Also, there's queen e5 as an idea for g4 later. It takes on h3. Queen e5 immediately. There's knight e4. Takes knight d5, knight e4, knight e3. I think king g8, there might be rook f5 for knight f5, threatening the queen and h6. Yeah, if I do a waiting move, I think there's rook f5 on king g8. Well, there's knight h5 there. It's a bit tactical. Knight h5. This position, rook f5 takes knight f5. Except there's knight h5. Was there? Rook rook h5. The thing is, like, e4's a bit weaker there. That might not be terrible. Because e4's a bit weaker. If he took with the rook, I'd take on g6. If he takes with the pawn... Okay, I'll do this. Try and dismantle with this move. So knight h5, I'm just going to take and try and win e4 later. Let's not pre-move this. Let's take... Alright, g6 drops then. e4's dropping. It's like 3 pawns for the exchange, potentially. But I don't want to lose e3 underneath that. Alright, I have to take on e4 here though. But I'm hitting the rook in this position, so it is 3 pawns for the exchange. Hitting the rook and living with e3 still. So knight d6, e4, 3 pawns for the exchange. Onto the mobile pawn center. Got it. For the exchange sack. So e5 is dominating. That's a nice knight. Right, d5 for c6. If it takes c7, it's like getting material back. Otherwise, take here, I'm getting material anyway. So rook e5, c7. Alright, let's get some material back. Let's take b5. Thanks for the game, Chessie. And we got one last challenge here. Hi, Tom Cullen. Let's play other kind of defense. I mean, it's the last game. Hope you enjoyed today. Some good games today. Okay. If if one was fun and 10 boring, how would you rate today, guys? Get the vote in for this now. So, bishop g4, bishop f3 and knight d4. Boring? Cramnick student? You say 10? 10? No, 1 is exciting. Well, you know, if you vote 1, that's the exciting, right? 10 towards boring. Yeah? Oh, 1. Oh, thank you. Any more votes? It cheers me up to see your votes. If it was exciting. Oh dear, oh dear. Alright, so queen d7 for queen h3. Actually, there's f4 coming out. What about knight g4 there? Well, there's also... Yeah, okay. Does he play f4? No. Alright, I get to play knight f3 then. Alright, there's a few ones, yes. There's a few ones. Thank you, it's a missed one. I'll read out the ones. The drunken lawyer, 2. Thank you. Yeah, I was bored to death during most of the World Chess Championship games, all those Royal Pezes. I mean, I'm always wondering, I had some regrets about the way I play, but after the World Chess Championship, I really appreciate the way I play. To take risks, because it creates more entertaining games. Anyway. So, yeah. Okay, thanks for the games. Yeah, and any likes on the YouTube channel of Chess24 and also the Kingscrusher channel, much appreciated. Yeah. Okay, not too many casualties this time, but well done to Luke, and the other guy had a crushing position. Thank you for the very generous draw offer. I know you had only 30 seconds, but I think confidence, man. You could have crashed through the A-file. I've got no counterplay. If I've got no counterplay, there's no risk going for it. Yeah, I know the 30 seconds looked a bit, Okay, thanks very much. See you next week. Cheers then.